Whether it's bad planning, bad luck, bad timing, or bad inventions, well-intentioned bad decisions have plagued history for thousands of years. Welcome to Historic Hindsight.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Historic Hindsight. I'm John, that's Tom, and today we're going to talk to you about Iron Man.
Iron boats, Johnny. Iron boats. Not so much Iron Man, but
This isn't, so it's not a movie review.
not a movie review. We did.
I watched that for nothing.
Yeah, you watched that for
Robert Downey Jr. flying in a spacesuit.
Not a bad movie. Similar concept though. Like I want to try to be bulletproof, so I plate myself in armor, but instead of myself. It's a ye olden wooden boat.
An old wooden boat.
An old ye olden wooden boat. So yes,
wrapped in iron.
Wrapped in iron. We're going to talk about the
first. So Civil War.
Civil War. Yes. If you watched Civil War in Hindsight, you have already heard about the Confederate Navy Mallory talking about wanting to build iron boats. Iron boat had been built at this point. We are now fighting iron boat to iron boat.
Okay, and but by iron boat you mean wooden boat with iron just stapled to it, basically.
Yes and no.
Right?
The Confederates was a wooden boat with iron stapled to it. The Union was actually an all-metal boat. From construction. One of the very first all-metal boats from construction.
I was going to say, that had to have been recent. I did not imagine they would have had that type of technology.
It might have been the first military all-metal boat.
Okay, that would
might have been. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, well, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it really was. It definitely was the Americans' first all-metal boat. So we'll
okay. All right, so we got an all-metal boat versus a wooden boat in cosplay.
A wooden boat in
fighting.
Cosplay, yes, exactly. Okay. It's called the First Battle of the Ironclads, or the Battle of the Monitor in Merrimack, or the Battle of the Monitor in Virginia, depending if you want to actually consider the boat the Confederate name or the Union name.
I mean, okay, you want to know what the problem with American is? Figure this shit out, America.
Or it's the Battle of Hampton Roads. Most people call it the Battle of Hampton Roads. Name it one thing.
The Battle of Normandy is not also known by the invasion of the rebel
Germans
forces
on
or
France.
Whatever. Like, it's the Battle of Normandy everywhere. You can't call
Johnny,
everything in the Civil War by two names. That's insane.
I do want to say this.
The winner writes history.
It's also known as the Battle of D-Day.
No, it happened on D-Day.
Oh, whatever. Anyways, all depending on how you look at it, for the episode, it's gonna be the Battle of the Ironclads or the Battle of Hampton Roads. Doesn't matter. And it's going to show the world the need for a dramatic change in naval combat, because these boats showed that wooden boats are a thing of the past.
They don't work anymore.
They don't.
I mean, so the Civil War did that, and also showed that the standard way of fighting, where you just stand 10 feet away from each other, shooting at each other's, also not a good idea. What a turning point!
Yeah, what a turning point! It's going to be fought over March 8th and March 9th of 1862, so actually pretty early in the war, and it's going to be fought outside of Norfolk, Virginia, at Hampton Roads, where the Elizabeth and Nansemond River meet right before entering the Chesapeake Bay. So, it's a hotbed in part of the blockade. So it's one of the areas where there's substantial engagements during the blockades. But before we get into the battle itself, I wanted to discuss the development of the ironclads from both sides and the race to the first, metal-plated ship or metal ship.
Yeah, this is the race to the moon.
This is the race to the moon.
1861 or whatever, too.
So right at the beginning of the war, I mean, in May, the first full week of May, Secretary of the Navy Mallory in the Confederate side was wanting to build ironclad boats because he recognized that he was never going to have the number of boats that he needed or the capability of taking on the blockade. Never going to happen. The Confederates were going to be way outgunned. So they needed to have a secret weapon, and that secret weapon was going to be a boat that was impenetrable.
Yeah, so basically,
Union fire.
It doesn't matter that the Union is outgunning you because their guns don't do anything.
They don't do anything.
They turn them into water guns, or they're just spraying them at the side.
And I shit you not, part of his idea was the boat would be plated in metal, so that it would be impervious to fire.
Sure.
Probably couldn't have a lot of guns on it, so our broadside wouldn't necessarily do super amount of damage. So instead of just using guns, we're going to have a battering ram on the front of it, and we'll poke. We're going to bayonet charge the enemy's boats. That was his idea.
And then continue your way as a fully functioning boat.
Afterwards,
after a boat crash.
After a boat crash.
So early kamikazes, basically.
Early kamikazes. So that was his idea. The Confederacy actually lacked the manufacturing and the capability of producing a steam engine that was large enough to power such a heavy boat. So they
not only, they probably also lacked the manufacturing to build most of the boat, at least easily, because that's their Achilles heel throughout this whole war is they spend all of their time and money, well, not money, all their time just having slaves do their work in the fields and didn't build any manufacturing plants or anything for any processing anything.
Yeah, pretty much. So
that's a problem here too.
What they wind up doing, if you remember from a couple weeks back in Civil War in hindsight, when Norfolk, what is now Norfolk, Navy Yard was abandoned, the Union decided to burn the shit out of it and burn everything that was left. So we couldn't get some of these boats out, so we'll just burn the boats.
Right.
What are you gonna do with?
Can't do anything there.
Can't do anything with that. Well, they did. So right after.
Okay. And this is also so this is the other side of that coin where they don't have any manufacturing, but they did have was Southern redneck ingenuity. Which there is nothing they cannot do with just junk everywhere. It doesn't matter. Like they can take anything and turn it into anything. It's the most remarkable thing on Earth.
It pretty much is. So what they wind up doing is they wind up raising the USS Merrimack from the Gosport, or like I said, now the Norfolk Navy Yard. They raise up the USS Merrimack, which is a burned hull. It's sunk. It's down. They raise it up. What it does have is a pretty damn good steam engine on the boat, and the hull, for the most part, is intact. So
I'll just take the steam engine and a hole from this one. I'll put it on this other one over here. We'll slap some iron on it. I swear to God, she'll be good as new.
And she was good as new. So
of course she was.
And so right from the beginning, they start manufacturing this. They start doing it in secret. They're going to rename this boat the Css Virginia, and this was all in top secret. The resurrection and construction began on May 18th, 1861. So it's going to, like I said, that second, first full week of May. Mallory.
They pull a boat out of the bottom of the ocean.
And then they start pulling the boat out of the bottom of the ocean and start, building it. Or the bay. It's not the ocean, it's the bay, but still.
What's that bay connected to? A river? A lake?
It sure is connected to the ocean.
No, that's the ocean, Tommy. It's salt water and it's the ocean. Sharks are there. It's the ocean.
But the Confederacy had little to no iron production, so they had to scrap iron from railroads, which I'm sure was never going to bite them in the ass.
Wait, functional railroads they took iron from.
They had to
abandoned ones?
They had to take iron from where they could find it. So some of it is railroads that weren't functioning, but like...
Did they take every other piece and hope the train would just skip across?
Maybe. And then any iron that was the railroads needed X amount of iron every year, tons of iron every year to stay, because,
to repair and keep it functioning and going.
But instead of repairing them, they're just like, well, we'll use this iron to plate a boat and hope that this boat works. By the way, in history, if you're at the point where your army's making secret weapons, you're probably not going to go so well for you. Yeah, usually if you have to rely on this top secret scary weapon, unless it's a nuke.
Tom, I've seen a bunch of movies where top secret weapons have really, really helped save the day.
Was that the Iron Man one you were watching?
It might have been. He had a top secret. He had a suit.
He had a whole.
He stepped into.
He did, yeah.
And I think it was secret.
It was because he was. If I remember right, in the first movie, he was. Anyway, we're sidetracked. Anyways, so they have to sacrifice the rail lines in order to build this whole damn thing. The Css Virginia itself, some statistics here. It's 275 feet long with 2-inch iron plate armor. It had two 7-inch Brook rifles, two 6.4-inch Brook rifles, 6 9-inch Dahlgren smoothbore guns, and two 12-pound howitzers for a total of 12 guns and a battering ram. Cannot forget that battering ram.
Yeah. Okay, so the rifles, though, I assume you gave
rifle
all sorts
guns,
of measurements that didn't mean anything to me. Cannons.
Big
okay,
guns.
Thank you.
These are cannons.
Yes.
These are
not what you have behind you sitting on a little, fishing pole
idea.
holder.
The musket is a 58 caliber, so that's 0.58 of an inch in diameter for the bullet coming out.
Okay.
The cannons are 7-inch 6.4 inch, 9 inch, and 12-pound howitzers, which means the ball that the howitzer shoots
my
is 12
head.
pound. Yeah, it's a
And then
yeah,
fire.
it's a
Okay.
it's a big,
More
big gun.
significant than what I was imagining.
Yeah, way more significant than you were imagining. Its top speed is a whopping 5 knots, or just 6 miles per hour, because those steam engines
A little bit heavy.
Yeah, a little bit heavy, and the steam engines that were on the Merrimack were not functioning properly when they sunk it, which is part of the reason why it was left behind and sunk.
Sure.
And
so after sitting at the bottom of the ocean, they didn't
with
get
some
better?
salt water, it didn't get better. Didn't
No?
get better.
No.
Nope.
No, that's fine though, man. I'll tell you what, I got another cat from this other thing over here. I'll just go and slap that on there. It'll be good new.
Good as new. The secret project was poorly kept secret, and the Union learned of it right off the bat.
Okay, but to be fair, how do you hide building or
gigantic boat?
You know,
A 275
essentially building
foot boat.
or modifying a huge ass boat.
Yeah, you know.
And you can don't do that in the secret. Now you can because the U.S. military is insane. But back then, they're gonna be like, "Hey, they're doing something to that over there."
Pretty much. Now enter Theodore Timby, who is a Union inventor who proposed making an entire boat out of iron, which the
Insane.
Navy laughed at. You're like, you can't do that.
It's gonna sink.
Way
It's
too
iron.
heavy.
Have you
Way
put
too
metal
heavy.
in the water, bud? Boop. Drop straight down.
Straight down. But he goes to Lincoln and he says, hey, the Confederates, they're building an iron-plated wood boat, so we need to have something better. And what's better than an iron-plated wood boat than an iron boat all iron? And
I don't
Lincoln
know.
goes,
It
"You know
seems
what?
like I feel like with the iron and the wood, you got one extra layer, right?
Maybe." But Lincoln goes, "You know what? I like your gusto. Go
He's
ahead
gonna-
and make it. Go ahead and make it."
I
Because
feel like he was like, you know what? We'll try anything. Why not?
I'm the president at the time of war. What do I care? Money means nothing.
Spend it. I
Spend
can
it.
justify everything. You want?
We are
You
at
got
war.
You got a perfectly functional boat already. Tell you what, go ahead and take $2 billion, build a new one.
And this is the difference
cares?
between the Union Army and the Confederate Army. So the Confederate Army, it took from
Money?
money,
Or-
well, yeah, that it took from May of 1861 all the way up until March 8th of 1862, pretty much for
Oh,
the CSS Virginia to
okay,
be
so
built.
yeah, that's-
So a significant amount of time, almost a full year. The Union boat, the
7, 8
Monitor,
months.
100 days, Johnny.
100 days they built a brand, like not just
They
manufactured a boat.
designed and built and produced the Monitor in 100 days.
Now, call me a coward. I'm not getting on a boat that was designed, produced, and built in 100 days when it's a new concept for a
New
boat.
concept. The other big new concept of it was that it had a rotating turret and only 2 guns, which the Navy also laughed at. Said, "It's got 2 guns. You need way more than 2 guns.
I mean-
our boats have 150 guns. So much better."
Yeah.
But Timmy's like,
But because they rotate it?
it rotates. You can shoot.
So
in all
wait,
directions. I don't need guns in all sides of the boat.
Okay,
So
but can it
rotates.
shoot super fast so you just create an umbrella effect over everything?
Yeah, no, it does not.
Okay, why doesn't the military do that now? Because I know they have guns shooting fast enough now that they can do that.
What, with a turret?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
They just
have that.
spin super fast
Oh no, just like
while
a-
it's shooting.
oh,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome. We should
Yeah,
do
just
that.
clear out everything.
Because the last time a Navy boat got attacked and sunk was like the frickin' Falkland Wars. So, whatever. Maybe sooner. I don't know. I'm not a Navy person.
Leave it in the comments. Tell us.
Leave it in the comments. So the USS Monitor was 179 feet long with the innovative rotating gun turret. It had 2
Yeah,
11-inch Dahlgren smoothbore guns, that's a big gun. That's a big gun. That's a big gun.
Holy sh!
Well,
Okay,
but
but
there's
2
two-
of them, and
two of
that's
them,
spun.
but they're only smoothbore, so there's that. It has 1-inch deck
Okay, but to
armor.
be fair, when you're a boat shooting at a boat, you don't have to be super accurate. So the
Yeah, that's true.
you shouldn't need a rifled bore.
For those at home, you'll have pictures of these 2 boats as I describe them. But for you, Johnny,
They're
let
in
me,
there.
let me just describe them. So the CSS Virginia is above the waterline. It's the whole boat's pretty much above the waterline. The USS.
Okay, so it's one of those like flat bottom is one, or but it
No,
just sits
no,
high.
you
sits
see,
high.
yeah, it sits high. So the USS Monitor, however, is like the gun turret sticking up out of the water, and that's about it.
Okay, and that's the Union's one.
That's the Union
and
one.
so that's all steel, and they're like, we figured out how to make
Iron.
it iron.
Yeah.
Worse.
Just float enough.
Just
float
enough.
But the
to float.
So the deck
basically.
iron is only 1 inch thick, but you don't really care because there's not much deck exposed.
And I'm guessing at this point in time there are no torpedoes that have
No
yet
torpedoes.
been
Yeah,
invented.
no torpedoes.
So no danger there,
is,
except for sharks and
the
whales.
turret itself, 8-inch thick armor around the turret. So that's thick. Its top speed was
Okay, I'm sorry. Quick sidetrack. And I'm guessing there are, but how many things are there today that could pierce 8-inch thick iron?
A ton.
That's not like a bunker
nothing.
buster or whatever, but
No,
like
that's-
guns or whatever, like cannons and stuff are going to go through that pretty easily
that's
now.
Not iron. Yeah, iron is not. It's not steel. It's not like AR.
Okay, and that's where I'm
iron.
getting caught up. I
Yeah.
keep forgetting how soft iron is.
Yeah, iron's pretty soft. Yeah, 8-inch iron is not.
But for the time,
For the time, yeah, soft
because they're
soft lead's
shooting
not. Yeah,
iron
they're shooting,
ammunition at or lead
lead.
ammunition.
Yeah,
or
they're
whatever.
shooting.
Yeah,
they're
so
shooting soft lead. The CSS Virginia with
So
a
it's
rifle
hitting like
gun
a
could
hitting
potentially
like a
have
paintball
some.
gun.
Yeah, the CSS Virginia with the rifle guns could potentially have some steel. Steel not canister, but steel projectiles.
Noses, things,
Conical cannon rounds with explosives. But we'll get to that later because they don't.
So they could have, but
They could have, but they didn't. Yeah, they could have,
Okay.
should have, but didn't.
All right, but in any case, so it's secure then, and it would be
Whopping-
pretty shit now.
Yeah, pretty shit now. Secure that. Whopping speed of 6 knots, so only 1 knot faster, which is approximately like 7 miles per
Hey.
hour. So they're not drag racing. These are slow boats.
But if
in comparison to a
they do
sailboat,
decide,
hey,
if they
but
do decide, you know what, we want to instead of fighting because we saw how dangerous your 2 turrets are, let's just race. We got them there.
We do, and then if you put the
is
turrets
great.
behind you, and then you shoot behind you, you get like a rocket.
Oh, get a boost.
You get a little
Yeah.
booster, little booster.
Yeah,
little
hit
booster.
the NOS.
Hit the NOS. Yep. So the first ironclad to ever enter combat was actually neither of these boats.
What?
Neither of them. It was actually the CSS.
Then what are we doing this for?
Yeah.
What?
Well, it was the CSS Manassas on October 12th, 1861. So the first Confederate boat to actually get out that was iron plated already got out, but it wasn't like a major substantial battle, and
Okay.
it didn't prove how awesome ironclads could potentially be.
Okay, so no one cared to write that down.
Nobody cared to write that down.
Did they
Often
win
it wasn't-
with the iron boat?
Yeah, they did some damage to the Union lines. It wasn't great. But now the lead up to the battle. So the whole point of the Merrimack, which was the brainchild of Lieutenant Catesby A.P. Roger Jones. Why do they have like 50 fucking names? in
I
Civil
mean,
War?
that's
This is ridiculous.
that's a long
Catesby
name.
A.P. Roger Jones. Anyways,
AP.
it was supposed to be impenetrable to wreak havoc on the Union blockade and punch a hole in the line to reopen trade. So the idea was this boat would be so devastating that when the Union saw it, they would retreat. And if they didn't retreat, we would just sink all the boats and then we could reopen trade.
So they thought a battering ram and a couple of pieces of steel slapped to the side would be
We'll do
enough
it.
to send the Union running
That
in
was the thought.
fear.
So Lieutenant Catesby A.P. Roger Jones was irate when he wasn't named the captain of the CSS Virginia. Instead, it would be captained by, well, nobody officially, because the Confederates got into a gigantic pissing match over who wants to be the proud captain of this experimental weapon. Which, for me, as a coward, I don't want anything to do with an experimental weapon.
No,
Nope.
you don't slap my name on that.
Nope.
No,
not
get
all
out of
that.
here.
No. Get
Like,
out.
I'll take it like under wraps, and then if we win, you can
Put my name on it, but until then, no, I don't want
But yeah, no, until we find out that, like, I don't know, if they happen to hit somewhere and it sinks it, or the iron doesn't hold up, it just the screws
It's
fall
not my
out.
fault.
I
It's
don't
not my
know.
fault.
I don't know
Not
what's
my
gonna
fault.
happen, but
So Franklin Buchanan, who's actually commanding the defense of Norfolk for the Confederates, is wound up by default named the captain of the boat, but he's not actually necessarily on the boat at all times. He's the overall commander of the whole region, so
Okay.
it's not like he's only going to be on this boat. On March 8th, the CSS Virginia was deployed against the Union blockade and instantly proved to be actually invincible. Like, it worked.
We couldn't
these
do
stupid
anything.
Confederate engineerings. Yeah, it tugs out.
That's stupid. No. I will not. Okay, you can talk shit about the Confederates all
That's
you
stupid.
want,
Yeah,
Tommy.
okay, you're right.
I
That's
will
stupid.
too. Their redneck ingenuity
Is pretty awesome.
the most amazing thing in the world.
I did watch a Tickety Talkers the other day where a guy took like this crappy old like GL Metro or whatever and made it into a lawnmower. Like, he cut off the back half and put like a lawnmower.
'Cause why
blade
not?
underneath
'Cause
it,
they don't
and
know
he
what
was
else
just
to do.
driving. It was the most amazing. I kind of want it. I want it.
I'll tell you what.
I'm a little jealous.
If the Confederate ever wants to come back, they need an apocalypse. They'll be the only ones that make it.
They will be the only ones that make
I'm not
it, yeah.
surviving shit.
So
Unless I drive south far enough to find some friendly one that'll let me work for them. Which,
you,
as history has proved, they're happy to let people work for them
They
for
are
free
happy.
and just give them food and board.
very much true. Very much true. So, like I said, on March 8th, the CSS Virginia gets deployed. It starts tugboating out. It is going to get shot at by the USS Cumberland, and nothing happens to it. It's like,
And
whatever.
they're ping.
And so the CSS Virginia decides to try its bayonet charge battering ram, and will sink the USS Cumberland in a half an hour. It just
used it, and it worked.
Full
and
slow,
it kept going.
like, full slow state. Ah!
It's that
Austin
Powers.
Yeah. And then
No! Stop! And then they don't
tink,
stop.
sunk.
And then well, not tink. I feel like it was more of a, and it just kept going like it because I know it moves slowly. Had to have been heavy as shit.
Oh, it was heavy.
So the momentum behind that.
I didn't look at the tonnage. I should have looked at the tonnage.
Don't get in front of it because it is going to absolutely. Yeah, you can't open them down there anymore, Tommy. That's where your mic is.
That's right. That is where my
be
mic
loud
is.
as shit.
It was loud as shit.
The momentum is just going to carry him through anything. Like,
it
they
did.
should have made the Titanic out of iron because then it would have just gone straight through the iceberg.
Pretty sure the Titanic was made out of steel, but okay.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Not
Did they put a
armor-plated.
battering ram on it?
They did not. That was the problem. Should have put a battering ram on it. The Virginia also focuses then on the USS Congress, who said, "No, you're not going to ram me," so it grounded itself.
Bye! I'm taking my ball and I'm leaving.
No, it's not taking its ball and leaving. It just grounded itself on the shore. So it's like, you can't sink me now, bitch.
Come at me. I mean, but to be fair, whoever's captain of that ship deserves a medal because he saved them a fucking ship.
Yeah, well,
Which I imagine is fairly valuable and... Okay, sort of. What? Because it grounded?
Well, it's grounded and it's
The
gonna get-
South
it's-
just
hold
kicked
on.
our ass with something that came out the bottom of the ocean. They slapped a couple pieces of metal on it.
It's gonna not sink, but it's gonna surrender because the Virginia is gonna be joined by the James River Squadron, and the Congress winds up surrendering because it's being surrounded by all kinds of boats. They're like,
Yeah.
all right, well,
Got a little scared.
can't go
And
anywhere.
Did they take the boat from? They didn't return the boat to the Union then.
Well, they get the troops off the boat, but it doesn't much matter because we'll get there, Johnny.
Okay.
Always jumping the gun. So after the first day, the Battle of Virginia wasn't completely unscathed. It's not completely impenetrable. The smokestack that it has for the steam engine was damaged, reducing its
Oh.
already slow speed to more like 3 knots. So
All right. So basically, what happened was.
crawling.
Yeah,
They
the
slowed it
north
down.
here, they found that one weak spot at the end of the video game boss where you're like, oh, that's his hitbox. We gotta do that damage there, and then we can just it'll be stopped. And then what's it gonna do?
Yep, and 2 of the 12 guns are going to be knocked out of commission when their gun ports are hit by direct shot. So those
Right?
guns are
Yeah.
gonna-
because that makes sense though. You can't cover where
you
the
can't. Yeah, you can't. cover
bullets
where the
have to
gun
come
has
out
come
of.
Yeah,
Like, there are gonna be weaknesses.
And in Buchanan, he's going to wind up being wounded and leaving Lieutenant Catesby A.P. Roger Jones in charge of Virginia. So he gets his wish. He's like, yay, I'm going to be the commander.
That's great. How did he get wounded? Did it, like shrapnel or
He
something?
shoots
or-
shrapnel, yeah. Like, it's not like if you get your face a bit too close to the gun port and the gun port gets a direct hit.
Well, color me a coward, but if I'm in a wooden
Oh my God.
boat with iron all over it, I'm staying right in the middle of it.
Well, Johnny, we're going to get there because, anyways, we'll get there. Hold on. We'll get there.
Get where? What? I was just saying
about being injured.
I was not a part of this.
About being injured. Because you get your face too close to a viewing port or whatever. Thank you, Mr. Motorcycle.
Oh, he went fast, though.
He's like, meow. Enter the USS Monitor to the rescue. So now, prior to the Virginia attacking on the 8th, the Monitor was being rushed to Hampton Roads because they knew the Virginia was on its way, or about completed and was going to be.
Right.
So there was a race to see which ironclad could get down there first. Okay. Virginia wins. Of course, it was a little bit closer. Not this, race.
Because of the damage, or
no, because the Virginia was Virginia was being built in Hampton Roads.
Okay.
At the old at what is now Norfolk, but okay. Versus the Monitors coming from I think DC. Doesn't matter. It's coming
DC. Down. Inland.
Well, I mean, around Washington. Whatever. Damn it, Johnny. I don't know where it's coming from. It's coming.
DC's not that inland. That would make sense, though, because then they just put it on a little train because we have functioning railroads in the north. Because we didn't have to melt them down to build our boats.
To build boats.
We just had shit.
Now, as the Monitor is being rushed down to Hampton Roads, it's actually being towed because it's a bit faster to tow it. Because this thing's fucking heavy and it's not moving very fast on its own.
What's towing it?
A bigger steamboat that's not plated with iron. That's not a million pounds.
Just a big ass steamboat that can actually use its whole engine.
Yeah. And it almost sinks twice because the Monitor is not the most seaworthy of vessels. It does tend to tip and take on water, because it's very low to the water line anyway. So any little bit of water getting up on its decks it's got to go somewhere.
Yeah, and probably down to the bottom, where it's going to affect buoyancy a little bit.
And it does have pumps. I mean, it does have pumps to
and
pump
also
out.
I'm guessing they built it and tested it or whatever at a certain speed, and then if they're going to drag it faster. The faster you go in water, anybody who's water ski or wakeboard or whatever, you dip first and then you go up.
And then when the weather's bad and the water starts sloshing around,
these oceans are rough, by the way.
And even the Virginia, the Virginia was not ocean worthy. Like neither of these vessels were
They're not going to go out in a big storm or anything.
They're built to patrol the coasts. They're on the coast and in the rivers. Yeah. They're not really supposed to go anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, calmer waters.
Calm waters for these guys. The Monitor is going to arrive at Hampton Roads at 9 p.m. on March 8th. It's going to see the devastation that Virginia caused, and the Monitor's mission is going to be to protect the USS Minnesota.
So they're not going to just see it and go.
No, their goal is to protect the other large battleship, the USS Minnesota, or other large ship. I don't know if it's considered battleship or not. Other large ship.
I mean, people were donating their yachts and shit for this.
Yeah,
so I feel like everything was a battleship. You got to consider everything a battleship.
Anyways, its goal is also to prevent the Virginia from, breaking out and threatening the Potomac.
Okay.
The Potomac, however you want to pronounce that.
Potomac.
By midnight, the Monitor is going to take up positions behind the Minnesota, and the Captain Gershom Jacques von Brunt of the Minnesota. Why did we have 50 names for old people? Captain
quite a mouthful.
Gershom Jacques von Brunt, which, by the way, it's like French and German mixing.
Yeah, I was going to say
I don't
von
know what the hell.
Usually
Brunt
like
is
von
German,
what?
But Jacques, Cousteau, it's
so it sounds like
Jacques. It's
Jacques,
right?
No, that's Jacques.
Oh, Gershom Jacques von Brunt. But that's still like French and German mixing. This is confusing.
Okay, but von... Brown. Brunt. Von means from, right?
I don't know.
Or
German,
something like that.
German, yeah.
So it's just a Frenchman who's from Germany.
I guess.
That's all, Tommy.
Anyways, he's the captain of the Minnesota, and he's going to say, and I quote in his journal, all on board felt we had a friend that would stand by us in our hour of trial. Which, okay, great. You see this iron boat, and you're like, okay,
that's good, right?
Yes, it's an ally boat. But if you look at the Monitor, it doesn't really instill a lot of confidence just from a first glance.
Well, also, I think you have to understand that this is the first time they've seen a
big guns,
metal
big
boat.
Guns, huge guns.
Two of them,
two big guns.
Just two
big guns.
But they spin.
They do spin. Immediately after arriving, around midnight, On the second day of the battle, the Virginia is going to tug out. It's going to boop, 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 boop.
Yeah.
And as it's tugging out, the USS Monitor comes along. Boop, 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 boop. So these boats are very slowly
Both
tugging at each other.
being tugged.
No, not tugged. They're on their own power at this point.
Oh,
because they're
okay.
in the
Well,
bay,
you said they were tugged out.
well, tugging out, like they're like boop, 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 boop. They're
Okay, all
tootling
right.
out,
Well,
toddling
but
out.
all right. That was
They're-
confusing language,
they're-
Tommy.
I'm sorry.
Because we were talking about them being tugged earlier.
Well, they're on
So
their own
they
power,
left.
but they're tottering out. They're slowly
They left.
meandering. They're slow walking.
Yeah, they limped out of the bay.
They're slow walking to each other, and as the Virginia gets a hold of the Monitor and sees the Monitor, one of the Confederates goes, "It looks like a wheel of cheese on a wooden plank," which is kind of what it does look like, a wheel of cheese.
So it's just this giant like
Wheel of cheese on a wooden
circle.
plank. Yeah,
And that's
the best way to
why,
describe it.
because it spins. So it's a
Because it spins,
wheel on top of a boat that's sitting almost all the way in the water, essentially. So a surfaced submarine.
Yep, a surfer's kind of, yeah. And as they're tugging to each other, the Virginia goes to give it a broadside and shoots at the Monitor, which is very low to the water, and completely misses the Monitor because it's very low to the water.
Right.
And then hits the Minnesota because it's behind the Monitor. So I wonder how Von Brute thinks about his friend ally who's supposed to be protecting him, as all the
Whoops.
rounds sail over it and hits it.
That had to have been such a good feeling for the person who fired it, though.
The Virginia's
Because
like,
when
"Oh,
I
we
was
didn't
in
miss.
like
I
when
totally was aiming at the Minnesota.
when I was in like 5th or 6th grade, I don't know, whenever when I was playing soccer, I tried passing a ball once, and I was like toward the goal line or whatever, and I tried crossing it over so someone could head it in or whatever, and the wind caught it and blew it into like far upper 90s. Best goal I ever made. I pretended it was a shot the whole time, obviously.
Yeah, it was a shot. I wasn't passing it.
And so that's what they were doing, I'm sure, after they celebrated. They're like, oh, that's who we were trying to shoot. It was a distance thing. We were like trying to see how long we could nail it from. We weren't trying to shoot that basic submarine that you got going on.
And so after missing, the Monitor opens up with its two big-ass 11-pound guns and gives it a good old...
Probably just one of them. Do they not have them mounted on opposite sides?
No, they're next to each other. They're next to each other. Right.
Oh,
next
so they
to each
got
other. Two guns pointing in the same
fully-
direction. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man.
Shoots both of them, and the guns go pink. These 11-inch rounds go pink. Now you might be asking yourself, how the hell does an 11-ounce round go pink off of iron? Well, that's because
It's backed by wood.
well, no, Johnny, the 11-inch guns were supposed to be using 30-pound gun charges, like black powder charges. 30 pounds
Sure.
of black powder is what was supposed to be propelling these 11-inch rounds.
And that's what would cause him to puncture and penetrate.
Yeah, but instead they were using only 15 pounds of
Why?
gunpowder. Because they did
Save supplies.
No, because they didn't.
Oh.
They didn't know that the 11-inch gun was capable of 30 pounds of gunpowder.
Oh, so they didn't want to blow it up.
And the charges that they had built for it were, 15 pounds, and they hadn't had a lot of time to test said gun.
I was going to say, perhaps this is one of the problems in
Of building a
designing
boat
and
in
building a
100
boat
days.
in 100 friggin' days. Because you're going to run into these issues where you're like, no one really knows how to use this appropriately.
Now, at this point, both the Virginia or the Merrimack, depending on how you want to call it. I'm going to call it the
Yeah, I
Merrimack.
mean-
I'm going to call it the Merrimack because it's
Call
an
it
American
whatever the
boat.
North called it.
It's the Merrimack.
There
So
we
the
go.
Merrimack pulls up against the Monitor in damn near point blank range, and they start shooting at each other. And like I said, the 11-inch guns of the Monitor are doing nothing because they're under.
Yeah.
Like, if they had the full 30
Way
pounds of
under
gunpowder,
They might have done
potentially-
something.
It potentially would have done some damage.
It would have
The
made more
Confederates-
noise inside the boat anyway that they were shooting
Yeah,
at.
the Confederates, although they had rifled guns that were capable of impact detonated rounds, with a rifle gun, you know that the tip of the bullet is always going to hit on the tip
Right.
of the bullet.
Yeah.
With a smoothbore, you don't know that it's a round ball, so it's toppling over.
It's throwing a football versus kicking a soccer ball.
So instead of having impact detonated rounds that as it hits the plate, it explodes.
And that's a thing that I assume existed at the time.
It is, yes, very much so. They didn't have that for reasons. And so they were using mostly round shot, which was also just if it hit the Monitor, which was a big if because the Monitor is sitting so low to the ground.
Right.
So basically, the only chance they have to hit is hitting the turret. If it hit the turret, it just bounced off. So
so they're sending balls
two
through.
boats.
I mean, but the board, the lining on the inside, the board
rifling.
guns?
That's
rifling. The
guns,
rifling,
yes.
it made it more accurate, even with the ball, I assume, right?
Yeah, but
slightly. But they're still
you're
shooting
hitting it accurately. But you're
at this bit of a boat that's this big.
Yeah.
There's like that much showing, and they're trying to hit that.
Yeah, point blank, shooting at each other for hours, Johnny. Hours. These two boats are right next to each other shooting. There are civilians on the shore going, woo! Because they're watching it like, yeah, shoot them, fuck them up. And nothing's happening. Both boats just wailing at each other for hours. Nothing. Now, the first injury... Yeah, it worked. The iron plates are working. The first injury on the second day of fighting would actually come to
Someone
USS...
sprained their ankle?
Yeah, pretty much. To USS Monitor officer Luis N. Stoddard, who was inside the Monitor gun turret, leaning up against the side. He's just kind of taking a nap. He's like, oh, it's been hours.
I mean, seriously, at what point do you just stop wasting your fucking time shooting at all these people?
As he's leaning his head up against the turret, a round hits the turret directly and knocks him unconscious for an hour.
Okay.
But no concussion protocols. He's back up on duty when he wakes back up.
I didn't know what the hell concussions were back then, as evidenced by our episode about the Battle of the Bloody Boot. Is that the one where the guy got concussed as shit and they let him keep fighting? And then, okay.
That's Shiloh.
Go watch that episode. That dude was messed up.
That's not Shiloh. That was the one with the Confederates that they always think they won the Chancellorsville.
Tell me, I remember there was a bloody boot.
That's Chancellorsville.
And a concussion.
Yeah,
like you should be happy enough about that. I'm not gonna remember what the name of it was.
Yeah, you did better than I did. I mean, whatever. Now, like I said, the first injury, Luis N. Stoddard gets knocked unconscious for an hour, gets woken up, bloodless injury, get back to work. Now,
no blood, no foul, pal. What took you so long to wake up?
Now, after this initial injury, the Virginia, the CSS Virginia, or the USS Merrimack, depending on how you want to look at it.
No, Tommy.
Would receive
the North won the war.
Is a Merrimack. The Merrimack would receive a shot directly through its viewing port to the Monitor. So the Merrimack hits the Monitor's viewing port, and is going to temporarily throw lead chips into the eye of Warden, who is the captain of the Monitor, and temporarily blind him because he gets a little dust in his eye, so he can now
a little dust.
Paint chips, paint chips.
No. In our review of Glory, Captain Bueller got a little bit of a nick in his neck.
Out for the rest of the battle.
Yeah. Having an eye port blow up with iron in your face, that's significant.
He's not permanently blind, but he's temporarily blind, so he's like, all right, that shit hurts. I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
So while he's being replaced by the temporary commander, Lieutenant Samuel Dana Green, who's going to be able to return to the pilot house and get the boat back moving, the Monitor kind of drifted away. Because there's now nobody looking to see what the hell's going on. So they drift away, disengage from the point-blank battle because, nobody, our captain can't see.
Just started, and it just
so we've got to get
the ocean takes you, and also the power. I'm guessing, guns have kickback.
Yeah, they do. So while the Monitor is waiting for Lieutenant Samuel Dana Green to replace a Warden, the boat teeters away.
Yeah,
it's disengaging. The Merrimack, or the CSS Virginia, decides...
I have one name, Tommy.
The Merrimack decides, the Monitor must be retreating, so we win! And they start toddling back to bay because they also have received damage to their boat, including the damn steam stack, so now they're nodding.
Yeah, we won, let's go back and get it patched up. And then I imagine...
at this point.
I imagine they had a massive celebration, shot off cannons, and killed 2 of their own.
Exactly.
Because I think that's what you do during this war, right?
Yes, exactly. So when
you lose... they won, so...
So when Lieutenant Green gets up to the pilot house and sees that the Virginia has turned back, he takes it as a sign that the Virginia is retreating. So
everybody wins. This is Pee Wee soccer. It's great.
So instead of pursuing anybody, both sides just continue to go back to the original size, and both sides go back to their newspapers and say,
and
we
nothing
won.
happens.
We totally kicked their ass, but they didn't. But they did.
Nobody did anything. But everybody wins.
Nobody did.
That is children's soccer for you.
That is children's soccer. Both sides claimed victory. Both sides' newspapers would claim that they sunk the other's boats when they didn't.
Nice. Nobody sunk anything.
Even the United States Congress would thank Monitor crew, thinking that they had sunk the Merrimack, which they didn't. And the Monitor's quartermaster, Peter Williams, would be given the Medal of Honor, Johnny, for I shit you not.
Oh, wait.
The quartermaster is given the Medal of Honor. Can you guess what the quartermaster was given the Medal of Honor for?
I would imagine for hitting one shot that did any sort of damage.
No, he was given the Medal of Honor for piloting the boat. Part of his fucking job, he got the Medal of Honor for steering the boat. He's not looking at where the boat's going. He's just down in the steam room going, boop, 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 steering the boat.
And a Medal of Honor?
For steering a boat.
Now, okay, I get there are all sorts of medals given out in the armed forces.
Silver Star,
and
Bronze Star, sure.
Purple
Medal
Hearts, all that stuff.
What?
But the Medal of Honor, I always felt it was always demonstrated to me that is something reserved for the highest of awards. Is that not what? Is there a medal that you can get that is
no.
that you would brag more about than the Medal of Honor? No, that's top tier, right? Like if you get the Medal of Honor, there's not like somebody else is like, oh, you got the Medal of Honor, I got the Medal of I killed an entire country. I don't know, like the Christopher Columbus menu.
Forrest Gump got the Medal of Honor in the movie for like saving like 5 dudes, including the lieutenant and Gump. Going
he got
back,
it exclusively for carrying Gump.
Yeah,
exclusively for carrying Gump back. Yeah.
Forrest, I don't want to die. It's such a good movie.
Anyways,
running back and forth, getting the guys, bringing him back. Yeah. That's worthy of a Medal of Honor. If that happened in real life, Medal of Honor.
No shit.
I will give you my uncle by marriage, my aunt's husband. He got the Silver Star for saving a shit ton of people in Vietnam. Like he went from foxhole to foxhole, like dragging people
pulling
back
people out.
He was a medic,
and he got a Silver Star,
which
is below the Medal of Honor.
Below the Medal of Honor.
This guy got a Medal of Honor for driving a boat. But wait, this was in the.
This isn't the Civil War. We were giving the Medal of Honor out. It was candy during the Civil War.
Right, but was this for the Confederate or the North?
North. This was the.
Okay, this was the northern one.
Okay. Congress was like, you.
So I was gonna say any medal given out by the Confederate has to be null and void, right?
Yeah, it's null and void. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Who cares about that? So
Nobody. They lost.
So we get after the battle method, right? So after the battle, both sides, like I said, would claim victory. Through the spring of 1862 for the next month, up through May, in Hampton Roads, there would be essentially a standoff between the Union and the Confederates, between the Monitor and the Merrimack. Neither would actually ever engage in battle. The Merrimack would totter out and around and be like, look, I'm here! And the Union would be like, all right, we don't give a fuck.
Fine, you're here? All right. Here's our guy. He's here too.
Here's our boats. Do you want to try to
break
out?
No.
Do you want to try to break out? No. Well, we're not gonna engage you because we realize that this is a pointless. You can't leave. All we're trying to do is prevent you from leaving.
It's a stalemate.
Accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Stalemate.
Which the Union wins by default because all they're trying
to
do
because that's what they're still getting what they want because they're not.
This would be like allowing a prisoner to have a gun, but him not being able to like use the gun. Like he has no bullets.
Yeah.
Like, you have a gun. You can threaten us with it, but you can't really do anything. And since you're still
when he's still behind bars,
he's still behind bars.
Obviously, he still can't pistol whip you.
Yeah, he's still behind bars. So.
If he's not behind bars, he'll pistol whip you.
Getting hit with this,
it's gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt. Anyways, so we're at a stalemate. The Virginia is actually going to spend a month in dry dock getting repaired. When it would return to nothing happening, the Union blockade would do what it's supposed to do and just keep the Confederates in. Blockade. The world would look at this battle and quickly realize that wood ships are completely pointless.
It turns out those aren't going to do any good anymore.
When facing metal boats. And England, and I shit you not, within a month, England would cease all production of wood boats. Wood steamboats, wood sailboats, no more. Nothing. Everything has to be metal. So, mission accomplished to show naval technology increase?
I mean, well, yes, I would say, because, good God, that's significant.
Yeah. Throughout the course of the war, the Confederates would put together a total of around 30 iron-plated vessels. And I use this term vessels
because, again, as we mentioned earlier, they were donating yachts and shit in the north. Yeah, it's going to be metal-plated fishing boats and whatever.
Yeah. The vessels is very, very loose. It's mostly floating batteries that are iron-plated. Like, these things cannot go out into the ocean.
All right, so what do you mean floating battery? Like
so
battery,
floating,
they build a boat to have cannons on?
Yeah. Have you ever gone to summer camp?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you had a raft out in the middle of the lake in summer camp, right?
I
dock. Like a little raft.
Yeah. Like the diving platform. Yeah. Okay, yeah, in the lakes.
That with a cannon on it, plated in iron.
I would not want to fire a cannon off that.
I wouldn't want to fire a cannon off that either. But that's a lot of what these 30 ironclads are that.
Yeah.
If they even have a steam engine, the steam engine is basically just enough
to kind make it move a little bit.
A little bit.
We're getting somewhere, but not fast.
Not fast. The Union would actually put the Monitor, it would make its own class of ship called the Monitor class, and it would produce 50 through the course of the war. 50, Johnny. And that's
full metal boats.
Full metal boats.
Not 50 boats that they modified to slap on metal.
This is
50 full-ass metal boats.
This is 50 full-ass Monitor-class boats, not including every other boat that they decided to plate with iron, which they plated a ton more with iron.
So they took that Southern ingenuity, redneck ingenuity, and they applied it. Okay, that's good.
Even if you're just looking at ironclad, very loose term, ironclad boats from the Confederates to Monitor class iron boats from the Union, it's 50 to 34. So that in and of itself shows the disparity. But that's like,
and that's on account of the North having just all the manufacturing plants, everything. I mean, even today, you see
had iron,
right? Well, and you see the footprints of it today, where you got the Rust Belt, and everything is now. Everywhere that is now super poor in the Midwest is because they used to be a manufacturing hotspot, and then they sold it all away.
Drive around Indiana. My job has me driving all around Indiana, and all I see is vacant manufacturing.
And if you want to be sadder, drive around northern Indiana or southern Michigan.
Yeah,
because good God,
go to Detroit.
Devastated.
There's no equivalent of Detroit. I mean, think about that, though. Detroit, like the manufacturing capability of Detroit back in its heyday, there's nothing like that in the South. Name me one city in the South that's Detroit-like.
Ever.
Not just poor and,
murderous. No.
But I mean, manufacturing.
As far as you said in their heyday.
In their heyday. I meant in their heyday, yeah. I said
no, and that's what the entire North did, though. That's why all these manufacturing, Pittsburgh, northern Ohio, Michigan, northern Indiana, and Kentucky, and northern Illinois, and everything, or not Kentucky, Wisconsin, northern Illinois. All of that area was nothing but manufacturing plants.
We built in the Civil War. We built I think it was 4 new arsenals. In the North, and that wasn't manufacturing arsenals. That was just shit to store it.
Yeah.
In Indianapolis, Arsenal Tech, the high school, was a Civil War arsenal that was built during the Civil War. It was we're gonna make cannons here. Well, and then after the war, they're like, good place to teach kids.
Might as well teach some kids there poorly about history.
So the fate of the Merrimack and Monitor, you might be wondering, like, whatever happened to these boats? Well, neither would last the year. The Virginia, it would first come to an end. After Hampton Roads, the Virginia would never actually engage in combat again. Wow. Norfolk would be abandoned by the Confederates on May 9th. The Virginia itself, or the Merrimack, was too fat to fit up James River, so it sat too low on, like.
Yeah, it was
too deep.
Yeah,
it was too deep to go up the river. So instead of allowing it to get into Union hands, they lit the bitch on fire. And after about a half a day of burning, it got to the gunpowder room, which they forgot to unload, and it went boom.
Which, by the way, for a nation, whatever. That doesn't have a lot of supplies.
You probably should have gotten that gunpowder out of there and the guns.
Maybe you want to get all your gunpowder out.
You probably should have gotten the guns and gunpowder. Yeah, you didn't.
That would have been a good idea.
But instead of boom,
so it blew it up. So that's nice.
So on May 11th,
new coral reefs, which is good.
In the afternoon of May 11th, boom, pieces. God, the sound, that would have been amazing.
That would have been horrifying.
Get my DeLorean, go back in time just to watch that bitch blow up.
Really, for that? You're not going to kill Hitler?
He died eventually. He did it himself. The Monitor...
After 60 million... Hey, all right.
Anyway, the Monitor itself is going to meet its end before the end of the war as well. She is going to be being towed from North Carolina going to be towed from Hampton Roads to North Carolina to participate in the blockade up there.
Sure.
While being towed, there is some bad weather, and she takes on an ass ton of water that extinguishes the boilers, which prevents it from being able to move on to its own power, and it's taking on water, which prevents the boilers are gone now. So now the pumps, the steam pumps that are pumping out the water, aren't pumping out the water. So it's taking on water, and the abandoned ship, get the hell out! We're sinking.
So basically, so it was moving on its own accord at this point.
Well, it was being towed, but it was being towed. But the boilers were running.
Anybody who's been dragged behind a boat water skiing, all the symbols. Go faster, go slower, cut it, all that.
Yeah, they're at the
basically, they just the tugboat's like go, or no, they were like go faster, and the tugboat's like I can't, because if the tugboat could go that, they could just raise it up. Yeah, it would have been fine.
They go faster, but the tugboat can't, and so
the tugboat's probably like I'm gonna cut my ropes. Yeah. So that you don't also drag me down.
Yeah. So what happened is when they went cut it, the tugboat went,
got it. Yeah.
Cut.
Yeah.
So it's going to sink. And so we're laughing about.
Were there, how many, did people die?
Yeah, 16
God damn it. They didn't see it coming?
16 sailors are going to go down with the Monitor on December 31st, 1862.
Out of how many?
I don't know.
Had to have been a lot, though, right? Hundreds?
No, it's not an entirely huge boat. Like 50 at least. I think at least 50. I don't know.
That's a good percentage.
Anyways,
I mean, it's sad no matter what, but come on. It would have been less sad if it was like 16 out of like 2,000 troops, because then you're like, well, maybe there was 16 that like
kind of
didn't do a good job, and then we're gonna help.
No, it wasn't.
But this was probably 16 good people that died, and that's probably awful.
That's drowned. With the
Sorry,
Monitor.
folks.
On December 31st.
Several hundred years ago.
Casualty report, Johnny. Casualty report for the series of battles. Two-day battles. Okay. Two-day battle at Hampton Roads. So for the two-day battle between both boats engaged, all the stuff that was engaged, blockade, all that stuff. The Union forces are going to lose 261 killed, 108 wounded, 2 frigates sunk, 2 frigates damaged, 3 auxiliary gunboats damaged, and 1 ironclad damaged. The Confederates are going to lose 7 killed, 17 wounded.
What?
7 killed, 17 wounded, 1 ironclad damaged, 1 gunboat damaged. So the Confederates really come out ahead on the wounded casualty, which they do a lot of. Yeah, a lot of times they come out ahead. But see, the thing is, at the end of the day, when you want to look at what's a victory, what's not a victory. So the Confederates' goal was to break out of the
losing
siege, right?
230 less men.
No, hold on. Let me sell this to you, Johnny. What was the Confederates'
Okay,
goal?
hold on. I have to stop. I have to stop caring about human life.
Stop caring
Don't
about
I?
human lives. Stop.
All right, let's think about this in
Strategic.
I'm 30 years from now. I'm just another old white man
Yep.
that has all of the old white man prejudices and
answers.
sensibilities and
Yep.
business
Yep.
sense and everything. So, all right, business speak. Talk to me. Why is it better to lose 230?
Yeah, the Confederates were trying to get out of the blockade. They're trying to break the blockade so that they could get, trade resumed with England so they can get more guns, more boats, all that fun stuff.
Okay.
Because the Confederates would actually order, I think, 3 or 4 ironclad boats from England and Scotland and receive none of them because, well, they got intercepted before they got there.
Because the Americans
there's a
did the
blockade.
job.
There's a blockade. So they're trying to break that blockade. Do you know what the Confederates don't do with
They
the
don't.
with
So
the
they don't break
Merrimack?
the blockade.
They don't break the blockade.
All right, so this
while they
this
only
is,
lost
all
17
right.
guys, they didn't break the blockade, so mission not accomplished. So the Union, by default, we win. Who cares how many? It's the Soviet.
I was gonna say. I was just gonna say the Americans were the Russians.
Yeah, who cares how many?
Keep
people
throwing
lose?
bodies, buddy. We got
still
plenty of them.
We still won, and that is the battle of the Merrimack and the Monitor and the Ironclads and how Navy war changed, and my brother's now a swabbing poop deck somewhere on an ironclad boat somewhere.
That's it for this week in Historic Hindsight. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review, and join us next week when we talk about 11-year-old killers.